Okay, this is rule 14, end on or nearly end on. Okay. What actions are we likely to take? What does the rule say? Okay, so the action is that if you are on a reciprocal course or nearly reciprocal course, yeah, or she during the day, yeah, then she looks like that she's the right aspect, or at night, then I see both her side lights and her masthead lights. Okay, I've got to see both those side lights. In which case, then what it was saying is that each vessel should alter course to starboard so as to pass red to red. Yeah? Each would alter course to starboard so as to pass red to red. Whoops. If you're unsure during the day, it makes it a bit difficult. Let me just show you. If I come down to our level here, and if I look at the, I might get you on here, Ralston. So if I come down, from this sort of angle, or this sort of aspect, she looks, now thank you Nath, she looks in line or nearly in line with my vessel. If I put her here, you can see that that's the line of sight. Would you see her green side light, do you think? No. And yet, look at her. She is on a reciprocal course, going to come down very tight on my starboard side here. So, in this situation, it's quite clear. It says that if you are unsure, then you should assume that it does and make an alteration of course to starboard. If I was to come 5 degrees, do you think that he would notice that?
No.
If I was to come 10 degrees, do you think he'd notice that?
No.
Yeah, please.
Well, that's if it's by night. Yeah. If it was by night, then I can see that one of the lights are going to cut out, and just the other light coming up. An alteration of 10 degrees would give me that. But I'm assuming he's going to. Well, it's perhaps wrong to assume that he is. But if he was to alter course 30 degrees, look what's happened to the aspect there. And invariably, I'll tell you where you're going now. You're just coming through Bay of Biscay, and you've got the ships coming up and down. They're not inside the traffic separation lane, but because they just wandered a little bit. And quite often the case, you might find something like this, and the tendency for you guys might be to alter course to port and increase the CPA. So this is where he's coming down fine on my starboard side. If you were to go to port, just at the same time, he thought this was a crossing situation, what action's he going to do? He's going to go to starboard. Yeah, because he's from Fleetwood and he knows the rules. This fella goes to port, and we've got a problem, haven't we? So although it says we should avoid crossing ahead, yeah, in 15, 14 comes before that. And it says that where I have an end on or nearly end on, or I'm unsure of the situation, i.e. that the CPA that's coming through, yeah, is that I should alter course to starboard, because that's what it says, and pass red to red. I think that what you would also do, and this is what we need to explain to the assessor, is that you would use all available means to ascertain when you've got that risk of collision. Would you expect the bearing to change from that aspect?
Not much.
No. So you're not going to be able to tell by looking at him too easily how close he's going to come. If you acquire him on the radar, on ARPA, Yeah. That would give you, what would that give you? Okay, his course and speed, his CPA, CCPA, yeah. How, we haven't covered it yet, but how accurate do you think that is?
We have
You cannot trust the radar and all this information.
Well, do you remember we were talking about safe speed and the risks, yeah, associated with using the radar? The accuracy for CPA can be anything up to 7 cables. So if you've got a CPA in this scenario of about half a mile, it might only be 2 cables. Would you be happy with that?
No.
So what we're looking to see is then get over there to starboard, get across. It might be that you use trial manoeuvre on the radar to see what alteration of course is going to give you a reasonable CPA. Would you be happy with half a mile on your port side?
Yeah.
I'd be certainly more comfortable with a CPA half a mile on my port side than certainly half a mile on my starboard side. It doesn't give me any opportunity to get out of the way. Okay? Let's have a look at this then. If I change this round and I say, can we see that? Just come back up again. Are we in there? I'll get a chart for these. You can almost make that out, can't you? Okay. So now I've moved him round and he's now 2 points, well, yeah, say 1.5, 2 points on my port bow. Is that a head-on situation? It is a head-on?
Yes.
Do you think that he is reciprocal or nearly reciprocal course?
No.
Do you think that you would see both of his side lights?
No.
Do you think that his masthead lights would be in line?
No.
No. So let's look. These are the things that you need to look at. If it's a head-on situation, there's very few head-on situations. But it has to be on a reciprocal or nearly reciprocal course. If by night, that means that I will be seeing his masthead lights in line or nearly in line and both his side lights. So if I can't see his port side light and he can't see my starboard light, then it can't be a head-on situation. Okay? If I was to turn it here and say, okay, what would I see of him now? Let me just turn that around a little bit more. So what he's doing is actually pointing at me now. So now, yeah, now I would see both his masthead lights. They would be in line, and his port and starboard side light. Does that now make him a head-on situation? Because he's not on the reciprocal course. Okay? Is that what you said, Sam, as well? Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this one over here a little bit. Here she is. She sees, or I see her, and I see both her lights in line, nearly in line. She's about 7 or 8 miles away, and I've watched her coming in. What do you think the scenario might be now? Just have a think for a minute. So this is me heading up here, up the table. It's about 8 miles away.
Succession of bearings.
Good. Succession of compass bearings. What would you expect to happen to the bearings, Si? Yeah, you'd expect them to start to open, wouldn't you? Yeah? You'd expect to open them, and although I can see her masthead lights and side lights, and she's pointing where I am now, I would expect the bearings, the lights are bearing to change. If it was at night, I'd see both his side lights. Then his port light's going to cut out, and I'm going to be left with his green side light. Yeah? Do you think there's a risk of collision? Okay, no, because what's actually going to happen is that she's actually going to come through this position where I am now, and she's going to pass well astern. Okay? So, the head-on situation is really one of the most difficult ones, I think. During the day, it's a lot more difficult to ascertain than it is through night. At night, I can see his side lights and stern. I've got to see both his stern lights. And for us, if you think about it, is to be a head-on situation. It's two vessels approaching each other on reciprocal courses or nearly reciprocal courses. So I've got to see both his side lights, and he's got to see both my side lights. No? Okay. Fine. Okay. Let's stop that.